Here are some ways you can tell if a guy is jealous of you or not. It's funny because it's so similar to when girls are jealous of you. 1, any accomplishment, anything that adds value to you, they diminish it completely. Almost like it didn't happen, non-existent in their heads. At least that's what they want you to think. 2, a lot of shade, a lot of dabs, things that you would normally put off as joking or them not being serious, but it's their true colors behind those jokes. Let me know if you guys want more. I can definitely make another video on this.
Y'all see that? And see, what's funny is that men like you can't even protect yourselves. And yet you think that we need you to protect us? If you could protect us, George Floyd, Tyree Nichols, and all these other brothers that have unfortunately passed over the years would still be here. Enjoy your day, Gloctavius.
Types of black men who do not like black girls. Let's go. By the way, disclaimer before all the Karens want to get in my comments, this is not a video looking for attention, looking for approval, or anything like that. This is a parody video just from my experience because I grew up around a lot of white people and I can kind of get this. Starting off strong, you have the Bass Pro hats. If he has a Bass Pro hat on, baby, you already know. Every boy growing up who would let the white boys say the N-word had this hat on. Just saying. Country club black men. Let me just get into this. So growing up in a predominantly white area, growing up in private school, I would encounter a lot of these type of black people. Normally, they don't see as black women as being very classy or fitting their lifestyle. And a lot of times they view dating white women as a form of elevation. Obviously, these aren't always going to be the case, but I've literally heard them say some of these things. And I also did grow up with 2 older black brothers, so yeah. Last but not least, you have alternative black guys, and I think these are probably some of the worst people on terms of colorism, how they view black women, etc. Obviously, it's not every single person, but like just even being in college, the people that have literally said, I will never date a black girl, have been the skatier black boys, the alternative black boys, etc., whatever you call it. They have this idea that like black girls just don't fit that aesthetic. And even some of them, like I would consider my friends. I was sitting at a table with a lot of them and they were like, I don't date black women. I just don't. Another disclaimer, everybody is literally entitled to feel and love whoever they want to love. If that is your preference, then so be it. This is just experience from me living in these areas, being around these people, and being the palatable black girl that they can just, express these feelings.
Are you hearing yourselves? Like, do you like women? What exactly is the tactic here? To beat down the self-esteem of all women collectively so that we have no choice but to lower our standards and accept your low effort / mediocre love attempts? I never said that men don't approach me when I go out. I was pointing out a pattern of behavior I was seeing at a party that I was at that I feel like is more representative of the average NYC man. Stingy men are a huge ick, so we are immediately not compatible. Reading through the comments in that last video, you guys sound pathetic. Why would any woman date you? Like being told off rip that you have zero desire to put in the effort to make any romantic connection work. Like you don't want to show interest by buying a drink. What is wrong with you? Who raised you? Like why do you think that's a good thing to admit on the internet? Like why go to parties then? What was the point of getting dressed? That particular party was not free, so why would you pay for a ticket to? As a man hearing these questions, if your mind immediately jumps to I'm accusing you of being gay, then you just don't have the critical thinking skills required to like meaningfully engage in this discussion. Because it goes beyond buying drinks. It really just communicates that in a relationship, you are not willing to do the things that you know will make your partner happy or feel desired. And fear of rejection, like be fucking for real. You know who has a real reason to fear rejection? Women. Like we can literally die over a man's ego. Get some confidence and figure it out because insecure men are literally a danger hazard for women. I've had a man literally chase me down the street and try to throw water bottles at my head simply because I didn't respond to a compliment that he gave me because I was walking down the street with headphones in. That is something to be scared of.
So when I first moved to Chicago, which has been about 8 years now, I was still traveling between Nashville, which is where I moved from, to Chicago from work because my office was still out of Nashville. And I remember one particular time I was in Nashville for work and I went on a run and I was running over a bridge. And it's a popular bridge. People walk over the bridge. People take pictures on the bridge. People run over the bridge. So it was a bunch of people on the bridge. And so I'm running over the bridge. It's a normal day. There was a girl like right in front of me. She ran, no issue. I get about halfway down to the bottom of the bridge, and there was a young man sitting like on the edge of the bridge or whatever. And so I get about halfway past him, and he just pulls this big old brick from behind his back and just gets up and start running at me full force with the brick. So my flight kicked in, and I just started running back up the other way of the hill. And y'all, I was running fast. Like I don't feel like I've ever run that fast in my life. And he was literally on my heels, and the entire time he had the brick, and he was like swinging it at me. And for what felt like forever, but I'm sure it was like a really short time, I was running past people back up the hill, and they were all just like looking, but nobody stopped. Finally, I got like right to the top of the hills, and it was a group of guys walking together, and they immediately like one of the guys like snatched me by my arm. He like pulled me into his chest, and then the other three guys like circled me. And so the guy wasn't like letting up. He was standing like outside of the circle, still like trying to like swing the brick at me, while these guys had me like engulfed in circle. And I just had my hands in my head, and I was just like crying, because I'm like, what did I do? Like all I did was like run past, like what did I do? But I say all of that to say, if it were not for those guys deciding that they were going to put themselves in danger, right, to help me, there's no telling what would have happened to me. Like, I just remember thanking them profusely, like just thanking them for, and I was like trying to call my friend to tell her what happened. And one of the guys was like, do you need us to take you home? Like, are you sure you're okay with running home? And I'm like, no, I'm okay. Because secretly I wanted to, because the police had come, somebody had gotten the police off the street, and the police had, a few officers had come up and, grabbed the young man or whatever. And I kept saying, I'm okay, because secretly he was a young black boy, couldn't be no more than like 20. And this was a group of white men that actually like saved my life, I feel like. And I wanted to check on him secretly. So I waited until they were out of sight, like off the bridge and out of sight. And then I walked back down. And when I walked back down at the end of the bridge, the police had the young man sitting on the curb. I don't know, he seemed like maybe he was on something or something. And that was right around the time where all of those incidences were happening with young black men and police. And so, me being a black woman, because that's what we do, I went down to the edge of the bridge, and they had him sitting on the curb in like handcuffs. I don't know what they were doing, but I just stood there and I just watched, and I waited until they put him into the police car, and then I went ahead and ran back to my friend's house. It is so disheartening to hear black men especially talk about how they're not putting themselves into harm's way to at least intercede on the behalf of a black woman that is in danger, when it is innately in us to make sure that y'all are okay. Most of us, right? Without a second like thought to our own like safety, without a second thought to my safety, I walked down to the edge of that bridge to make sure that that man was okay, even after he attempted to attack me, right? And I'm not saying every black woman is going to do that. And I'm not saying every black man is going to leave women out here high and dry, but it really is disheartening to see so many black men like publicly say, girl, you on your own. If I were on my own that day, there's no telling, what that man would have done to me in the state that he was in. Like, seriously. I just thought I'd share that experience in a time where we're talking about the safety of black women. And I know that I wasn't being attacked based off of like some sort of rejection, but I was a black woman in danger, and it hurts my feelings to think that if that was a group of black men as opposed to a group of white men, that I would have been in the hospital with my face swollen from being hit with a brick too. Like, it's just disheartening.